I'm sorry, I can't help you with that right now. I'm very sorry, but you're in an Alamo Drafthouse movie theater, and the use of phones is strictly prohibited. Please, don't be rude. You are forcing my hand. You do realize how much of your personal information I have. I can send a text, but I'm sure there's something on here you might not like me sending to someone. Would you still like me to send a message? Thank you for making the intelligent decision. Thank you.
Treat her right, treat her right. Treat her right, treat your mother right. Treat her right, treat her right.
Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right.
Treat her right, treat your mother right. Treat her right, treat her right.
The three pillars of our new strategic plan that the business community came up with were economic development. Let's make sure that we continue to bring companies and jobs to this region. Secondly, talent development, which is working with homegrown talent to make sure that our young people have the skills and the education to do the jobs that are coming here. And third, attracting talent to make sure that all of our companies here have the best possible talent so they can prosper and grow and have even better futures than they've had.
Hi, I'm Tim Keith, Chief Executive Officer of Texas Central Partners, a private Texas-based high-speed rail company. Like you, I'm proud to be a Texan. My children are sixth-generation Texans, and their ancestors helped defend the Alamo. We're blessed here in Texas with abundant resources, an entrepreneurial spirit, and a government that wants the private sector to do what it does best, create jobs and opportunities for its citizens. That's why I'm excited and honored to be part of the team that's bringing the nation's first high-speed rail project to Texas. It's going to connect the two largest metropolitan areas in our state. And this will lead to a new high-tech industry in Texas with new skilled jobs that will be enduring. We will be adding to Texas's role as a leader in the nation and putting it on a global stage. We've chosen a world-class technology that was designed to minimize community impact. In addition, we've spelled out in our guiding principles how we will work with landowners in a fair and transparent fashion. The system has a perfect 50-year safety record of running through some of the most dense urban environments in the world. It has many tools designed in to limit the noise impact and environmental impact. I will continue visiting communities and meeting with stakeholders. I'd like to hear from you. If you have questions or comments, please email me at tim@texascentral.com. I'm excited for the future of Texas, and I can't wait to get you on board with Texas Central. Thank you.
Dallas is more than downtown and uptown. Just look a little further south and you'll see new possibilities for bright students, business owners, and families of all kinds. Southern Dallas is the future of Dallas, and we want you to be a part of it. Dallas GrowSouth. Explore, create, expand.
Good afternoon, and do we see me alive? There we go. Hey guys, it's great to be here. Thank you. You know, when we started GrowSouth, the amazing thing is you never know where it goes from when you start something. One of the initiatives that was created was the Mayor's Rising Star Council, folks from 5 high schools here in town. These high schoolers wanted to create that video that you just saw. They did it all by themselves, and I thought it was a great homage to what they do in our city. So I think let's give it up for the high schoolers. So we are here in this theater, and there are folks in 2 other theaters. Hello, everybody. You can see me on the screen. I appreciate it. I'm sorry because you've got to look at my face a lot, and these people can just look at the screen, and I can narrate. But it's great to have so many individuals here at this time. It is fabulous to think about all the things that have happened in this last 4 or 5 years. Actually, this is the 5th year we've done this, the 4th update. And ultimately, this is a story about people. It's a story about people making a difference. And we need to start with those people. There are a lot of people in this room, and I'd like to kind of have each person stand up, but we'd be here for 30 minutes. But I would be wrong if I didn't say thank you to some of those individuals. There are the elected officials, our city council, my partners. Thank you for supporting GrowSouth the way you've done, city council. There's county judge, there's county commissioners. Senator West is here. The representatives, the state representatives are here. There are so many. I think there's an ex-mayor here. I think Mr. Kirk's here in the audience. There's so many people that have stepped up and tried to make this a reality. There is my GrowSouth Advisory Council members. There is the Neighbor Up board members and leadership council members. There is the Rising Single Family Housing Steering Committee. There's City of Dallas folks that have worked on my landlord initiative. There is a private investment fund board members. There's AmeriCorps Vista members. So many of individuals have made this a reality. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you to each of those folks. I appreciate it. But ultimately, Southern Dallas is made up of people, people, not old people, but people that have been here for a long, long time, and newcomers, people that are students, people that are business people, black, white, brown, and they're all over the place, and that's what makes this area so vibrant. The basic premise, though, in GrowSouth was that we wanted businesses to invest in Southern Dallas. And that's why I'm pleased to see businesses take hold. And the businesses that have decided to sponsor this, I have no problem giving them a great commercial announcement for this initiative. First of all is Texas Central Railway. And you saw the little ad that they wrote. The first high-speed rail in the country is going to be 100 yards right from this place. I was fortunate enough to introduce Vice President Biden to the concept. He came to Southside, and we talked about this. It was a great day. And what I need you folks to do is to text, if you want to hear more about it, text the word RAIL, R-I-A-L, to 52886 when this is over, and you can keep up with the project. We have people out front that will help you with that. And thank you to Tim Keith, the CEO of Texas Central Rail, is here today. Second is we're trying to kind of make this more entertaining this year. And the folks that made this a reality is Quinn Matthews Films. Thank you, Quinn, for your professionalism over the decades here in the city of Dallas. Your team did a great job, and I appreciate the work that you're going to see today. AT&T is the big daddy downtown, and they are so important to this city. They continue to be committed to Southern Dallas. AT&T will continue to invest in infrastructure throughout our whole city. We want to be a technologically wired city, and that's what their commitment is. So thank you, Michael, Angela, and Jason, for your team members hearing our needs and delivering what we need. I think there's some exciting announcements coming up in the next few weeks about what they have plans to do. Also, the Dallas Regional Chamber, thank you for your continued support. They got behind GrowSouth immediately because that's their job, to grow Dallas, and they saw what we had to offer in Southern Dallas. And I appreciate the members of the Southern Dallas Task Force at the Regional Chamber supporting this as well. We'll talk about a project that they did a little bit later. So thank you, Dale Petrosky, Dwayne. Your tireless work for Southern Dallas is much appreciated. A newcomer to the Southern Dallas Initiative is David Weekly. David Weekly has been believing in GrowSouth and wants to bring development right here across the street on the Lamar Quarter. And Southside Plaza joins 5 others in in-town communities already underway for David Weekly homes. Central Living Division has plans for more development, and so you can see what they have done. So we thank you for being part of it. Jack Matthews, Matthews Southwest, for those of you that know him, you know how great and what he means to the city of Dallas. For those of you that don't, it was really Jack Matthews' vision to make Lamar such a vibrant area in the Cedars and in South Dallas. He is always there for anybody that's trying to do good in Dallas, so thank you, Jack. And last but not least is where we're sitting right here is Alamo Draft House. When I attended the ribbon cutting, I knew this place would be perfect for the event. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not had a movie theater in Southern Dallas for 3 decades, and it's so exciting to have a product this good out there. So they have been a great host. They have got the bar lined up for whenever I shut up, and you can get out there and have a great time. But thank you, Bill, Ashley, and the team for making this a reality. Right. So, what is this GrowSouth thing? For those of you that haven't been with us in the 5 meetings, I think it's important to kind of capture what we're talking about here. I realized that Southern Dallas was a huge opportunity when I was elected mayor. 54% of the land mass, but it only had 15% of the tax base. That was an opportunity right there, an opportunity to be taken advantage of. But it was more than a bunch of numbers. It was about people. It was about people talking about their hopes and their desires, their desire for a grocery store, their desire for a movie theater, for a shopping area, quality restaurants, the middle-class housing that they wanted. These things were very important to people. And I said, boy, I can try to grow Southern Dallas and grow Dallas and really take care of these needs at the same time. So I recognize that GrowSouth incorporates a lot of things, and I think it's important as we look at this to understand that this plan is really an economic development plan for Southern Dallas. It is not an officially City of Dallas endorsed plan. We didn't kind of vote on it at City Council. We didn't debate every nuance. This is something that I just went off and did, got private money to support this initiative. And we are working within the City Council to put together the details of what we need in Southern Dallas. It's not a master plan for capital allocation. Each of the areas, each of the neighborhoods, each of the council districts need to make sure that that plan is correct. But it is an initiative that we work with the public and the private sector to make this a reality. We're conscious also, and maybe I'll take the accountability for this, to not let bureaucracy get in the way of progress. So sometimes you have to kind of just, get it going, make it happen, and see what happens from that point of view. And so how we take the entrepreneurial nature of GrowSouth and also the governance of the city and the county and all these entities that are important to us and try to improve Southern Dallas. I work with the council members in each of their districts. Many of these initiatives, I think they applaud, and there are initiatives they have that I applaud, and that's what we try to do. So 5 years ago, I told you that I had developed a 10-point plan. There we go. And that 10-point plan was to promote that economic development that I spoke about. I made a promise to those folks in the room that day. It was just right down the road at the sound stage where the TV show Dallas was being recorded. And I said, I promise that I will come back every year and give you a report card. Promise what we're going to do and then hold ourselves accountable for that. I didn't promise that it was going to be the salvation of every issue that we have and the medicine for every ill, but that we were going to be consistent about this plan. The great news for me, and I'm just a show-me-the-bottom-line sort of guy, is this economic development plan is working when you look at the numbers. The first number is really our tax base. Over the last 4 years, you see an overall tax growth of $1.5 billion. This is something that is remarkable because it is keeping pace with the whole city, and many of the values are even increasing faster than North Dallas. So there is more value in Southern Dallas today than we had before. I went a step further, though, and I said, all right, that's great to be top line, but we need to look at each area and understand, do we have those things working in each of the areas? So we took 7 key areas, 8 focus areas, and that's what you see here with each of these different colors, each focus area. And we were going to track each of these focus areas by 17 indicators, things that were detailed that impact each of our lives. And we're going to look at them each year, and we're going to decide, are we making progress, or are we backing up? And if we back up, we need to shift our strategy and try to improve it. So we created an indicator report, and this is in each of your chairs. For you number nerds, you will be thrilled by this, okay? Because you'll be able to look at each one of those areas and look at those 17 indicators and understand how they compare to each other and how do they compare in years past. Any piece of research needs to be longitudinal in nature, and we're creating a database that we should be able to use for decades to see if Southern Dallas continues to grow. The way it works is this. We basically break these 17 areas into 3 areas. One, an area we call commitment. How committed are people to coming to Southern Dallas? Our population, school-age children, public school enrollment, things like that. Then resilience. How likely are they going to stay? Which has to do with college-educated residents, neighborhood associations, per capita income. And then lastly, amenities. Here's 2 examples. One is property crime. You're not going to want to stay, and the quality of life is not going to be good if your property crime is up. An unemployment rate is important because you want to have people have jobs. We took those across all the focus areas, and we rate those numbers every year. So, in short, this is where we are for all the focus areas in 2015. We have the lion's share are green. That's good. That means we're better than we were in 2011. The manila is we're not better, and we need to work on it across these areas. This is where we were this year. Last year, if you look at the slide, we actually had one more, and that was school-age children, was slightly better than when we began. Now it's slightly worse. We're closing a lot of multifamily apartment buildings, and that drops the school-age children. But that's where we are today. Now, we take that and then we break it across all the 8 areas that I just spoke about. The 8 areas are the Cedars, the dark green line down through Southeast, Education Corridor, Lancaster Corridor, North Oak Cliff, Pinnacle Park, Redbird, and the West Dallas Gateway. Now, I'm a visual person, so I said, don't show me the numbers first. Show me, are we getting better or are we getting worse? This is where we were in 2012, and the next slide shows where we are this year. We are making progress. This chart is more green than it's ever been before. And I want it to be all green. That's the objective. Because if we're all green, we're going to get people moving in. We're going to get that economic development that I was speaking about. These are the numbers, and now you start to get diagnostic about each of these areas and say, how much progress are we making in each of those metrics that we're looking at? Now, as I look at this, I'm a glass half empty guy from time to time. I say, good news or bad news, give me the bad news first. So as I look at these numbers, here are the 3 areas that I am worried about. First of all, unemployment rate. With all the work that we've done, unemployment is still going the wrong direction in southern Dallas. One nuance that's important when you look at these indicators is some of these numbers are lagging indicators. This is one of them. So actually, it's a rolling number over a 4-year period, and I think the most recent numbers we've got were in 13 or 14. So we don't have all the up-to-date numbers. The second thing is net, we actually have 600 more employed people in southern Dallas today than we had before, and we've got more people in the workforce, and as you guys know, is looking at unemployment rates, more people in the workforce actually brings your unemployment rate up. That being said, those are just issues you need to understand. We need to turn this green. We will not be the vibrant southern Dallas that I want until that gets green. The second area is violent crime. If you looked at property crime, we're great. On the left, look at those numbers, how fast property crime has dropped in those 3 years. The problem is the violent crime actually is worse today than it was before. Just in pockets, it's not throughout southern Dallas, but in those pockets, those numbers have not improved to the level that I want them to. As you look at it from a long-term standpoint, a longitudinal standpoint, you see that we kind of hit a low in violent crime in 10-11, and we've kind of stayed that way for some time until the beginning of 16, and it spiked. And that's why Chief Brown and others decided to rearrange our police force to work on violent crime. And the great news is in this last month, the numbers actually have started to come down. So that's more of a projected number, but it's something I want to stay looking at. And the last are schools. While high school graduation is up, and that's great because the kids are staying in school, they're getting a chance, and they're staying out of trouble, if you will. The performance of the school, based on the metrics that you'll see, are not doing as good today as they were before. This gives you a sense that the total bar charts are where Dallas County is. So that includes Garland and DeSoto and Lancaster and Lake Highlands. And the green is the schools in southern Dallas themselves. Across the bottom, you see from kindergarten ready all the way to completing some sort of college after 6 years. And you see, first of all, the most important thing is it never gets kind of better than where you start kind of in the pre-K area. And so we have to drive that high. But the big number for me is that last number. We only have 12% of the kids in our schools are getting some college after 6 years. That means that 88 kids out of 100 do not have the training they need for the jobs that we talked about with unemployment. And we've got to fix that. So that's an area we're paying a lot of attention to. The great news is I think the community and DISD is getting over the big changes that need to take place. One, mobilizing around quality pre-K. We've got to get those kids ready. As I said, if we line them up right, I think they can do the job. Second is putting money back into the A schools, the schools that need that help. I was just in one the other day, Sarah Zumwalt. Great kids, and they just need the support and the financing. And lastly, promoting early college programs in high school. 5 of our high schools will have early college programs, and they can get their college degree, and it won't cost them anything. They'll have 2 years of associate degree. Won't cost them anything as they graduate from high school. And we all know what happens that senior year sometimes. It's a wasted year in their life, and we can be accomplishing so much. So those initiatives I'm very, very excited about. As you come back to the big slide, there's also some things that I'm very excited about. First of all, what has happened to the Lancaster Quarter over the last 5 years. This was historically a Manila color. And now population, property crime, school age, all the way across the board, except for one thing, is green. So we are turning the tide in Lancaster. We have so much more to accomplish. Councilwoman Arnold is working very hard to accomplish those things. But at least we've got some momentum behind us, except for this notion of per capita income, which is jobs. And that's why this whole education job thing, I think, is critical as we look at it. The second big highlight for me is real property values. These are property values that have gone up since 11, and except for in the Redbird area, everything is significantly up. When we look at those real property values on a net basis, they're up 25% since 2012. And one of the reasons they are is owners are investing in their properties. They're not running away from them. An average of $77 million is spent every year on residential investments. So that tells me the basic premise, remember, that Southern Dallas is a huge investment opportunity, is a correct premise because it's paying off. Lastly, probably the biggest highlight of this year was convincing the New Jersey owners of Southwest Center Mall of selling this property to a Dallas investor. And it is the beginning of a wonderful relationship. The city has partnered with us. We have invested $2 million in this project, but they are going to have to invest $15 million to be able to get that grant. The great news about that as well is that gave us a catalyst to talk to TxDOT and to fix the roads, the ingress and egress from 67 and 20, because that's right on Main and Main, and I think this could be a huge development and growth opportunity for us as a city. One other thing I want to say about TxDOT, they also this year announced their Southern Gateway project, which is going to clean up our highways and make those things better, to lower many of them so we don't divide our communities. They're putting in a total of $665 million in Southern Dallas. They had never done that before, and I'm excited that they finally, the governor and the others, are taking Southern Dallas very, very seriously. So if you look at what is the story of this growth that I just talked about, it's not rocket science, because growth really kind of creates other growth. And it's a hub and spoke strategy. The growth in downtown we know has happened, and the big significant growth has been flowing from downtown to the east, to the direct south, and to the west. And that's one of the reasons that we've had so much happen with multifamily developments and many others. And those are the 3 areas that had been put in our 10-point plan those 4 years ago, to make sure we grow near downtown in the south, West Dallas, and really that North Oak Cliff and Jefferson Boulevard. if you look at this, this video, you can kind of see some of the things that are happening right here in southern Dallas. So we come in, Friends of Google. You see the Omni Hotel. That was a big, if you haven't been down any of those restaurants, it's amazing how packed they are. You go into the bridge. You come to where we are right now, the Alamo Draft House. Right on the other side, that's where the Texas Central Rail will come. And you got the Dallas Police Department. That's why crime's so low here. South side of Lamar has been fabulous for years. And then we've got multifamily projects like the Beat and others. Nilo's the first hotel we've had. I just spoke about David Weekley. We just broke ground the other day for 40 homes. On the west, you go over the bridge, and you are going to see next year a huge amount of apartments. But right now, you see Trinity Groves. Everybody in God's creation has been there. Continental Bridge is really used, and Miss Alonzo does a great job of that. We're going to create what we call three-hole punches through that area to create more neighborhoods for development there, for projects like Sylvan 30 and others. And then in North Oak Cliff, we all know about Bishop Arts and what it's done for us. We're pushing south there, and we've got a project by the Nazarian family called Bishop Arts Project. They've acquired all that land, and that will create all the way to Jefferson. And Jefferson now, with the Jefferson Towers being rented out, we have barbecue and beer pub start up there, and we've got a design to really redo Jefferson to bring it back to what we've got, that main street in southern Dallas. That, with the Dallas streetcar, we spend $2.5 million a year to operate that as a city to connect southern Dallas right back down to downtown. And that gives you a sense of what's happening for this growth. You say, where are these numbers coming from? That's really where it is. As you look at, back to our 10-point plan, we put 5 things up there that we just believed in. We said we've got to strengthen neighborhoods. And you can say, well, this is motherhood and apple pie, but we got to get it done. Strengthen neighborhoods, culture of clean. We've got to clean this place up, and it's got to look good. We've got to strengthen our schools, which I've already talked about. The mayor doesn't do schools, if you will, but I needed to kind of be additive to the school process and how I help the kids there. We needed to debunk the myths and market better to the city and to investments. And we needed to create an investment fund where we are able to create these projects faster because money is right there for those investment funds. Now, I'm a good learner, and I take feedback from you guys. And last year, someone said, I'm very bored when you go through all these points, okay? So that's okay. So I decided to run a little movie, since we're in a movie theater, to kind of look at our accomplishments here in these 5 areas.
We consider this the most beautiful part of Dallas.
What you see are incredible, engaged neighborhoods.
I think it's one of the communities in the city with the most pride.
We love this area. I mean,
Southern Dallas is just like the rest of the city, except we're missing some of the supportive things that we need economically.
You know, don't believe the press clippings. Really, you have to come and see it for yourself.
This is the best time to live in Dallas, but the key is not to celebrate now. It's to make 5 years from now a better time to live in Dallas.
The neighborhoods have a huge part to play. I am one of 4 AmeriCorps Vista members. We're hired for a year to work with the mayor's initiative out in the community. This is one of 2 murals that we've worked on. We've also planted trees in a number of neighborhoods, done some flower gardens.
This was a local grocery store. We're trying to bring some local businesses back to this area. We have several abandoned buildings.
And we're trying to attract young people with families and stuff to move back in the area. And a lot of real estate agents don't even know about the area.
That's the point.
They don't even show it.
The neighborhoods that are going to thrive are the ones that are excited to participate, to work with the city, to work with businesses in the area. Strengthening neighborhoods attracts families who move in and stay here.
I love Oak Cliff specifically just for the architecture and the landscaping of the homes. It's a nice community to raise your children in. Wednesday's going to start her life as a cheerleader for the Oak Cliff Redskins. And then she's going to grow to become a Skyline varsity cheerleader one day.
And she's going to go to Atwell, too. She went to Brown.
I went to Brown. He went to Atwell.
Those are rival middle school.
And I went to Carpenter. He went to Adele Turner.
But
so
we know Atwell is the better of the two. I never lost to Brown. I just want to throw that in there. I never lost to anything to Brown.
Okay.
Not even a chess match.
Most people didn't suggest looking south, but once we came and looked here, we really loved it.
Yeah, people have been so welcoming too. The neighborhood's a great neighborhood. People are really nice and kind, and we feel connected to the community already, and we've only been here for, a year and a half. So.
We, first of all, got involved in a mentoring program here in the South Dallas Fair Park area.
And we put up our house for sale in Plano and started looking for a house here in South Dallas. And everyone was just so welcoming and so warm.
We came in thinking, hey, we're going to be, these big heroes, and we're going to give back, and folks are going to look to us, and far from it. I think actually the opposite has happened, to where we feel like we're blessed by those around us being here.
If you spend any time in southern Dallas, you see an enormous number of dogs walking along the streets. We are really stepping up our presence in southern Dallas, and it's one of the things that GrowSouth has really has helped a lot with this year. We're going into targeted areas, the areas that have received the highest number of calls about stray or loose dogs. We are picking up dogs that appear to be stray. And the other is we're having an aggressive education campaign where our animal control officers are speaking with the residents of those communities to make sure they understand what can they do to help be a solution to the problem.
Blight is an issue in the southern sector. As part of GrowSouth, as part of the strategy of a culture of clean, we have escalated the number of demolitions that the city performs whenever we find properties where the owner is not found, doesn't come forward, unwilling or unable to take care of the blight on their own. Demolishing set a goal with the Mayor's GrowSouth program of demolishing 250 of these structures a year, and we've been doing a good job of keeping pace with that.
So the second time, we now have the soil and
Education is the foundation of the future workforce, and Mayor Rawlings understands this with 3 historic initiatives that he is very proud to support. The Mayor's Summer Reading Club. Just last year, over 160,000 hours was read by adults and children, and the most significant part about it is it actually creates a habit with these children that makes them want to read, and it becomes a lifelong habit. The Mayor's Back to School draws about 40,000 kids and their parents to Fair Park. What we're able to do is to give kids in need their school supplies, do their health screenings, we check their eyes, we give them glasses if they need it, we do their immunizations, and cut their hair. So what it allows for a kid to do is go back to school ready to learn.
The job that we're looking for.
The Mayor's Intern Fellows program provides high school students an 8-week paid internship in top companies and nonprofits across the city. And many of these students will go on to college and be the first one in their family to go to college.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Who have you interviewed with?
Scottish Rite, Baylor, UNT.
Okay. And children who live in high-density poverty suffer from summer learning loss at 3 times the rate of middle and upper income American children. So the problem that Big Thought is working on with the mayor's office and the school district is alleviating summer learning loss. GrowSouth has been a great launching pad for increasing access to out-of-school time learning in the southern sector. There are as many as 15,000 kids who are engaging in summer learning, and after school and out of school time learning through Dallas City of Learning.
When a child is not reading proficiently by the end of third grade, they are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. Reading Partners for 15 years has been bringing community volunteers into elementary schools to work one-on-one with students kindergarten through 4th grade who are reading below grade level. When you look at our work since the inception of the GrowSouth program started, we have partnered with 15 elementary schools, and we have served 1,000 students in South Dallas alone, thanks to the support of 800 weekly volunteers.
Our goal in DISD is to have 35 choice schools by the year 2020. And essentially what choice schools mean is that they offer specialized academic programming, whether it's Montessori, science technology, dual language, fine arts, lots of specialized options that tap into kids' interests, learning styles, and aspirations.
We are going to be a school of choice very soon, and our theme is going to be leadership.
We got to write about free verse, lyrical poems, haiku poems.
So at Weiss Elementary School, for instance, kids are doing, public speaking. They're building PowerPoint slides. They're writing persuasive essays where they have to support their arguments with evidence. I mean, these are all skill sets of 21st century citizens.
KIP stands for the Knowledge is Power program. It is a national network of public charter schools designed to prepare students to be successful in high school, college, and in life. Here locally, KIP Dallas-Fort Worth is comprised of 4 schools serving roughly 1,300 students. This summer, we are moving out to Pleasant Grove, and our goal is in 2021 to serve 5,000 students in 10 schools, all in Southern Dallas. We're not the only solution. We're one solution of many. And ultimately, we want to be an option for families in a portfolio of educational institutions designed to make sure that kids can live a life of their choosing, and that we at KIP believe that we do that.
The Mayor's Rising Star Council Leadership Academy began 3 years ago. We've been working with students in 4 Southern Dallas high schools to be more engaged in their communities and to empower them to know that they have a voice and that change can happen through them. As of today, 100% of them have been accepted to 4-year universities for next fall, and that's so exciting.
We get 75% of our students from south of Interstate 30 down to Grand Prairie, across the southern suburbs to Mesquite. So, that's our base. Our base is the same base of GrowSouth. We have a very clear plan to grow from our 2,500 students to 5,000 in 5 years. And so just achieving that growth will stimulate a lot of economic development around us.
For us, we represent the potential and the hope of GrowSouth in a slightly different way. While some of our students come from the area, what we are really trying to do is be Dallas's great small college. And so what we want to do is show the sustainability of the southern sector by creating graduates that stay here, invest here, and help transform here. Because the reality of it is grassroots transformation is the most sustainable transformation that you can create.
There are a lot of positive things happening in Southern Dallas, but those stories don't always get told. We wanted to create a tool to tell the stories of the communities and the people in Southern Dallas. We put together a website to change that perception. From the Chamber's perspective, we want the business community, we want companies that are looking at Dallas-Fort Worth to consider Southern Dallas as a place to set up shop for people to move to. We want people to consider the region as a great place to operate a business or to live.
Southern Dallas has been so underserved for so long. So the hope is that Impact Dallas Capital helps to stimulate growth. That's all we're trying to do. Impact Dallas Capital is a not-for-profit organization designed to increase investment in Southern Dallas. For 3 years now, we've been working on how to create an infrastructure so that we could support economically development in the southern sector. One of the challenges about investing in the southern sector is that if you invest in North Dallas, typically you can get about 80% funded. In the southern sector, you get about 60% funded. So you have this gap that most developers are trying to manage through. Our task is that we try to assist those developers by providing capital so they can do the development. We welcome the partnership of the business community, investors, and the community at large to help us to continue to stimulate growth in the southern sector.
So I'm reminded, thank you. I'm reminded when I see that video how big Southern Dallas is. It really is. I say this and people don't understand that you can fit the whole city of Atlanta inside Southern Dallas. So it's got all those things, all the great opportunities and some of the challenges we have. And it's just so exciting to take this 10-point plan and do it. We talked about the top 5. You heard Michael Sorrell and Bob Mung talk about the education corridor and what we talked about Jefferson and Lancaster. So you see how we're focused on this, and we are not going to quit on those 5 things because those 10 things because we believe that that will continue the momentum we've got. The problem is, I want it faster. You know, we all greedy. We all want it better. We all want it cheaper. We all want it faster, all right? And so last year, we said, how do we accelerate this growth? Well, the first thing you do is to examine what are you not doing well? What are you not focused on? Putting the mirror on yourself and being intellectually honest. And these were the 3 areas that I struggled with. One, I felt there was a disconnect between City Hall and the community, a lack of communication. So we weren't understanding exactly what was happening in real time. The second, I saw too many organizations and too many governmental agencies working on good things, but they were working in silos. And lastly, it's really, to me, the schools and the lack of home ownership in Dallas. We are a tremendously high rental property area. And if we dealt with those 3 things, I said maybe we can accelerate it faster. So we spent a lot of this year focused on these 4 accelerators to see if they can work. An advisory council, we created a collective impact test, a landlord initiative, and lastly, a single-family housing initiative for the city of Dallas. First was that problem of communication. In order to be successful, you have to listen well, and you have to communicate, as I've been told many times. You accelerate the growth by that. Councilman Casey Thomas has helped me work with communities and work with a council to make sure I'm listening correctly. So we created an advisory council of 20 people, of people that care about Southern Dallas and live there and play there and work there. And their job is to go throughout this big mass of land that we talked about and talk to people all the time. They have to make sure that they connect better to see those economic development opportunities. This year, this group held 30 meetings in different communities across Southern Dallas. So they have the meetings, and then they come back to my office or a meeting room. That's not my office. That'd be a nice office. And they get to give me feedback. They complain. We're not hitting the mark here. People don't understand that. We need to do this better. And we have great conversation. It becomes a think tank for GrowSouth. One of the ideas that came up is something I heard in one group but was echoed for these folks, is we are missing a huge opportunity in Southern Dallas if we don't focus on arts in Southern Dallas. Arts should not be just a downtown or a North Dallas opportunity. It needs to be Southern Dallas as well. We have some good arts organizations, but they need to be taken to the community. We need each of these neighborhoods to get involved with the arts, and that's how the kids get involved too. So this year we're going to really dial up arts in Southern Dallas. The second thing I talked about is you have great organizations but they are literally and figuratively all over the map, doing different things. Each of these organizations has got their 10-point plan, and those 10 points don't necessarily match up with these other 10 points. All doing God's work, but not focused and not organized. So the thought was, how about if we all got together and broke down these governmental barriers, public and not-for-profit, and focused all of our attention on 3 areas, 3 neighborhoods, and see if we can change the way that we work. So I decided to create Neighbor Up. Now this is a little bit different than the city manager's initiative called Neighborhood Plus. He's trying to do this within the city, breaking down code and economic development and the police department in these neighborhoods. I stepped back just a little bit and pulled in all these organizations that aren't at the city. The city's at the table, but there's a lot of other organizations as well. I created a leadership council of the decision makers. I only would want to have people that could say the word yes in those meetings and see if we could focus on 3 important neighborhoods for the city of Dallas. They are Parkdale, Urbandale, because that's an area that could go either way. It's a great old neighborhood, and it could take off, or maybe it could slide and see issues. Lancaster, I've already talked to you how important to me Lancaster is, the heart of Oak Cliff, and then that education corridor because it's such a greenfield opportunity. And this is basically how it's organized. This is a private organization raised with private money, and we have a collective impact leadership council you just talked about, a 501c3 that takes care of the money and make sure we do everything proper. This organization has hired 3 people, LaShawn, Edie, and Christy, and they are focused in each one of those markets. Their job is to create a very short, strategic plan for these markets, bring it back to the Leadership Council, and ask the Leadership Council to bring it to bear. So if we've got a health care issue, we're going to work with Parkland and Children's to make sure we deal with those issues right there. All right? Jobs are important. I want to go door by door, find every unemployed person and get them in job training and get them a job. And that's what Workforce Solutions is doing. We're working with the Dallas County Community College for higher education if we need that. We'll pull in the resources of the city as well, but it's not just the city that's going to turn this thing around. It's going to be all of us together. We'll see if this is going to work. This is going to get a lot of national attention. It already has. I've got some foundations in place that are saying, hey, I'm willing to invest behind a program like this. So we're extremely excited about it. Lastly is this issue of home ownership. Someone told me we were the highest percentage of rental properties in single-family units. Okay, so we've got our apartment buildings, but we got a lot of people living in single-family homes that pay rent from $500 to $800 a month. A lot of people live in those places, and it's a business for many people. One of the issues is that some of those homes are run down, and it's not helping the neighborhood. And we've got to get serious about dealing with that issue. So we, in a very positive way, tried to look at the numbers. And we said we want to find all landlords that own at least 40 properties, and then we cross-reference them with a DCAD report at poor to very poor. So basically, they own a lot of properties that, according to our tax assessor, were in bad condition. And they were in these 6 areas. You can see their homes. And the thought is, okay, let's change them home by home, and let's figure this out. This is definitely the 80-20 rule, or the 20-80 rule in this case. 20% of the land loans own 80% of the issues we've got. The great news is I met with them, and I asked them to do this. I asked them to fill out this commitment card. And some of these guys were great. They've been doing this for years, and they want to make their area better. I asked them to sign that they were committed to be part of the solution, They were committed to make sure all their taxes were current, that they were committed to registering the properties. I didn't even realize you can own a home for a rental property in Dallas and don't have to register it with the city, or we haven't been able to enforce that. We're going to enforce that going forward so we can have a database with all this information. And then say that they will give us permissions to have voluntary inspections inside the homes, because many of the condition issues are the plumbing issues and the cleanliness and safety inside of homes. We had 5 of these guys doing it, and they're working with us right now to make things better. 450 properties have been registered since we started this, and 5 landlords are working with us to create how do we take economic development funds and make these neighborhoods better? How do we incentivize them to put the money in their homes? But those that don't, we decided to take legal action. Okay, we said that last year, and we were good by our promise. We're in the middle of a lawsuit with one entity. We filed a suit on Toplitz Investments November of last year. And in April, a group of Toplitz tenants also brought a class action suit against these folks. So we've got the carrot and the stick. We're going to work with people in a positive way to make our neighborhoods better. And if they don't want to, and they have too much, it's a drug house, and they have crime there, and they have a lot of code issues, we're going to take action, and that's what we've done. So this initiative is extremely important. The last point is I made the point that we need more middle-class families buying homes in southern Dallas. The problem is we don't have as many homes as we really need in this area. And so we created a plan to build the homes. And I met a guy by the name of Ted Wilson. He's the CEO of Residential Strategies. He knows more about home building than anybody in Dallas because he's the data carrier. He tracks all the information. And he got all these folks together, and we've met 3 or 4 times, and we put a goal in place to build 1,500 homes in southern Dallas over the next few years. They said, each of these individuals said, I'll take 50, I'll do 100, I'll do 25, and we're building it up. As you can see, we get very excited about this, and Councilman Callahan and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Wilson took them to tour Southeast Dallas and South Dallas. And when people go on a tour of Southern Dallas, they get what I'm saying. It's huge. The opportunities are there. And the market is right there. They can make a lot of money, and I think bring those families in and give them opportunities to find an affordable place that's high quality. So we're very, very excited about it. To give you a sense of what's happened, you can see that we have 350 homes. In this map, you can see how many permits have been put together, and they've toured a lot in the southeast and the south. But you can see how many homes that those permits have been pulled or they've been completed. As I said, 1,500 is our goal. 355 are already either started or completed, and I'm hoping that this is a lay down a goal for ourselves, and we blow past that. We're very optimistic about building these homes. It's remarkable to see transformations in those neighborhoods, the befores and the afters of neighborhoods. Camden Property at Camden created Camden Ranch, and they were able to take that property, and they're building all these homes. I talked about earlier, David Weekley took this property, bought it, and they're building 40 homes right across the street there to continue to build out southern Dallas and give people an option. So it's cool to see that happen, but we as a city are also making a huge progress. We are one of the biggest landowners in the city of Dallas with our land bank, and we've got to figure out how we use that land bank appropriately. One initiative that we have is in the bottom. Talk to Councilman Arnold, and she will tell you how much she wants to grow this area and how it's a perfect place to grow. But we own a lot of the city owns a lot of the land. So we have put a request out on our Dallas website for qualified builders in that area. Not only will we put the land in place, we want to give about 3 to 4 builders and help them with land, but we're also going to provide interim financing and gap financing for the builder. So if people want to build some homes and can make some money off it, we've got the land, we've got the council person, we've got the desire to cut deals with folks, and this is what we're going to do throughout southern Dallas. So as you can see, we have been working hard as we look at the 10-point plan that I initially showed in 2012. We are not going to stay off of those things. We're going to stay working on them, but we've put these accelerators on top of them to see if we can strengthen our neighborhoods faster, build a culture of clean faster, make sure that we are able to invest in a better way across these boards, and I believe ultimately it will happen. Now, these meetings are also moments that I get to kind of talk about important issues going forward for southern Dallas. 2 years ago, I said that we needed to get serious about Fair Park. In fact, I publicly announced a mayor's task force to be put in place to examine the options of Fair Park. In the last 2 years, we've made a tremendous amount of progress, and that mayor's task force came back with 4 points. Really getting the community involved, making sure we put the park back into Fair Park, dealing with 30. We need to knock 30 down so East Dallas can flow into South Dallas. I'll tell you, the most important one was they said we need to put a private-public partnership in place so we can raise private money and manage Fair Park the way it needs to be managed. We as a city council are taking up that issue. The Dallas Park Board is taking up this issue. And we're trying to decide if we're going to complete that project or not. And it is something that we have got to have serious conversations about because it's going to cost us more money. This is very important, but it's not something we can do with the same nickel that we've been spending on Fair Park for these years. I want to just add, as we think about it, this is a remarkable space that any city in the United States would just love to have. And this remarkable space is close to one of the most important neighborhoods that we have, and that is South Dallas Fair Park. And once again, you see how this story is not just about land in southern Dallas, it's about people. It's about people that want to get together. So we started an organization a couple of years ago, or started the idea called WINS. And this organization's come together, and neighbors have reached out. And the excitement of this neighborhood, led by Councilman Young, it makes you believe this can happen. That's why I believe we've got to move forward aggressively with Fair Park and figure out how we continue to invest down Martin Luther King Boulevard, which we spent $2 million on in the last 2 years to make it look better. And if you drive down there, you see that. But I never want to forget the people of southern Dallas, because this is ultimately about them. And you can see in the initiatives that are happening around South Dallas Fair Park how those people are so passionate. So today I'd like to close with a kind of an honor to those individuals and to tell you this is the defining battle in southern Dallas, South Dallas Fair Park. If we can do it here, we can do it throughout southern Dallas, and I think we'll be a big success. Please, roll the video.
South Dallas Fair Park, as you know, is less than 2 miles away from downtown Dallas. It's a great community. It's just that the basic things that are needed for an individual to thrive, it's just not here. So the WINS initiative emerged in 2013 to bring South Dallas Fair Park back to where it's supposed to be. It's focusing on 5 core areas. It's economic development, education, health, housing, and safety and security. What we focus on is bringing all diverse sectors of the community to the table to restore South Dallas Fair Park and make it a place where businesses and families can thrive.
Beyond the state fair, there's a lot more that can be done to generate economic activity within and outside the immediate area of Fair Park year-round.
Freighter revitalization is a community quarterback. We try to align the resources both within this community and from outside this community.
This is Mill City, near Fair Park area. We've got an urban forum. We have a community garden. We have an educational outdoor classroom. What we've been doing here now is trying to engage the community and also to attract newcomers here because we are in a very good central location of Dallas, and it's really beautiful here.
This area is the South Boulevard Park Row Avenue Historic District, right next to downtown and Fair Park. A year ago, I drove through this neighborhood and I saw possibility after possibility. But the main problem that I came across was that no lender would ever give a loan to fix up an old house. So I set off to find a group of investors who could afford to come in, fix the plumbing and the electricity, and make it aesthetically pleasing to the general public to want to come down, invest, and make this their home.
St. Philip's is very much a part of the GrowSouth initiative. We are constantly looking for ways in which we can improve the community surrounding us. We don't close our doors at 3 o'clock. We allow children from all over the neighborhood and the community to come and utilize our campus as they would a Boys Club or YMCA type program. Food pantry on our campus that serves over 800 families a month. There's a clinic that's serving 1,500 families a year. And we just extend ourselves to be a blessing to the lives of those surrounding us. Our approach is that we are preventive in nature. We aim to prepare versus repair.
GrowSouth ties hand in hand with the redevelopment of Fair Park as an institution and certainly as South Dallas proper. We know that an important piece of that is making sure this is a community park, certainly for those that live around the park, but then also that everyone from throughout the city will feel welcome and warm as they come to Fair Park.
We have to start with the assumption that that's genuine.
We can do it one neighborhood at a time.
When this community thrives, the entire city of Dallas thrives.
You can't say it better. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you to all the people that make Dallas tick. I'm so proud to be your mayor. Let's do 2 things. First, let's leave and get some adult beverages, okay? And then let's keep growing south, okay? Amen. Thank you very much.